Am I the a-hole for not giving my wife who doesn't work more pocket money? I, M27, can't help but feel like an a-hole about the situation, and my wife, F23, has been calling me an a-hole the whole week. Meanwhile, our close family are taking my side and friends are split. I for one don't see what I can do. For context, we live in Europe. The issue is the following: my in-laws have the amount of money they give my wife each month and she wants me to make up the difference out of pocket. For it to make sense, I have to explain our finances. I am a medical resident, my pay is shit frankly. But it doesn't matter, because I have real estate properties and make a decent amount of passive income from rent. My wife does not work, because she is still in law school and her time is full between that and taking care of our son, 2y. So here is the situation. 20% of my income goes straight into our savings, this I will not budge on come hell or high water. About 40 to 60% goes into household expenses, this includes the nanny/housekeeper, food, gas, electricity, and my wife's school expenses. The percentage varies each month OFC course, but lately due to the war all these expenses have risen, so it's always on the higher side. The rest of the money is split between my wife and I, but not evenly, and here's why. Before we even got married, my wife had an agreement with her parents: as long as she stayed in law school and kept her grades high she would receive minimum wage from them, so that she didn't have to work and could focus on school. When we got married, I promised to give her half of what her parents gave her each month. This way our monthly pocket change would be roughly the same. This agreement has worked for the past 4 years. Unfortunately, this midterms her grades dropped. They're not terrible, mind you, but her parents have high standards, so until she can get her grades back up in February, they said they'd half her monthly pay. I kept the amount I give her the same. Essentially, she receives minimum wage now. My wife has asked me to increase how much I give her to make up the difference. I refused, and I still refuse. My income didn't magically increase in a month. I pointed out that she had an agreement with her parents and me. That her decrease in her money is a result of her actions. I upheld my side of the bargain. I told her she will just have to deal with a little less personal money for a couple of months until she can get her grades back up. I'm 100% certain she can do this. She maintained this isn't fair and that as her husband I should take care of her. She said I could just lower how much I keep to myself or raise the rent since I already rent under the market price. I told her I am not raising rent and leaving people homeless in these uncertain times, and that if I give her more from my own side I'd almost have nothing left for myself each month. I really wish I could give her more, I do, but I can't magically make more money, and I think I deserve a little for myself as well. IMO her receiving minimum wage without working is enough. So am I the a-hole? Am I the a-hole for excluding my stepmom from helping plan my wedding? My stepmom has been married to my dad since I was 7. She was the other woman in my parents' marriage and she was also supposed to be my mom's best friend. I didn't know her very well pre-affair reveal. She lived in another city and apparently most of my life and all of my sister's life she and her dad had been sleeping together. This is not something I was aware of as a kid. My sister and I knew we didn't have parents who got along after the divorce, we could sense the tension. Once or twice we had an idea mom hated our stepmom, but she never said or did anything directly in front of us. The vibe was just there. It did not stop us loving our stepmom. We found out what happened when we were 17 and 19. We felt so bad for our mom, but our stepmom had always been good to us, and dad was good to us, so we tried not to let it change things. After my fiancé and I announced our engagement on social media, my stepmom wrote a post about how she dreamed of this day when I was born, how she had been so excited to watch her very first baby grow up and get married, how she and dad had talked about it before I could walk. She tagged my dad, but she also tagged some friends who knew her back then who were also friends with my mom. The post was distasteful and honestly was exposing that she had always planned to have the affair. It did change how I felt. I told her to take it down and apologize. She told me she did not regret the post, and why wasn't I happy she loved me that much? I accused her of trying to rub it into my mom's face that she had stabbed her in the back and won the love of my sister and me after betraying her with our dad like she did. She told me it was 20 years ago and mom should be over it. I decided not to include her in any wedding planning. She is a wedding planner as a profession and I know she would want to, but I am not happy with her post. Mom was so happy when I told her. But when my stepmom wanted to know when she'd be dress shopping with me and what I wanted her help with, I told her I did not want her involved in any wedding planning. She and my dad are saying I am overreacting and should not be treating her this way when she has been a damn good parent to me. Am I the a-hole? Am I the a-hole for eating ice cream directly out of the tub? I'm currently staying with my in-laws. Before we came to visit, my mother-in-law asked me what pregnancy cravings I was having because she wanted to make sure they had them for me. I mostly crave chocolate fudge brownie ice cream and they bought a lot of it for me. I was eating it directly out of the tub since it never lasts more than 2 days max and nobody else was eating it as far as I was aware. My mother-in-law's goddaughter has been here for a few days now too and she saw me eating the ice cream from the tub and told me I was being gross because somebody else could have wanted some and I should use a bowl instead of just eating it directly from the tub. I told her I was going to eat it all anyway and she accused me of being greedy. I started crying because we kept arguing over it and she was making me feel awful. My husband saw me crying and was furious with her. My mother-in-law has been trying to smooth things over between everybody but my husband is still angry at her and she's still angry at me because she thinks I cried on purpose to make him angry at her. Am I the a-hole? Am I the a-hole for telling my sister-in-law her kids are going to hate their names? I, 27F, and my sister-in-law, 34F, has 4 kids and a baby on the way. She is the definition of a crunchy mom. Her family is vegan, with no electronics in the house, has all natural toys and clothes for the kids, homeschooling, etc. She wanted her kids to have unique names and not basic names. All her kids have ridiculous names. Baraline, 4F, pronounced Bryalyn, Falcon, 3M, pronounced Falcon, Rorai, 3F, pronounced Rory, and Kelvin, 1M, pronounced Calvin. My sister-in-law asked me what my opinion was on her naming her next baby Astra, Inky, or Lore. She also went on a rant about how my husband and I's baby is going to have a basic name and not be memorable. I'm 6 months pregnant and my husband and I plan to name our son James. I told her she was naming kids not dogs and her kids are going to hate their names once they get older. She got really mad and began screaming at me that I was rude and kids' names are more than just a name. She stormed out of my house after this. All day I've been getting calls from my mother-in-law and brother-in-law about how I'm being evil and rude and need to apologize to her. My husband agrees with me that someone needed to tell her she's giving these kids ridiculous names. I feel bad, like maybe I should apologize. It wasn't really my place to say anything. But I'm so sick of her mom shaming me. Am I the a-hole? Am I the a-hole for having my girlfriend leave for helping my daughter? My daughter is 16 and has been really struggling with ED. It's more managed now, but before it wasn't. Once I knew, I took her to the doctor, a therapist, etc., etc. The doctor has told us multiple times to, yes, eat what's needed for nutrition, but it's best to monitor quietly so it's not like I'm forcing her to eat and she's eating because she wants to, not being forced, also because it won't last if you force, so I'm doing it that way. I've been with my girlfriend for a year and met my daughter a little while ago and I guess they got close and my daughter told her that she had an ED, but from what I know, nothing more, nothing less. My girlfriend has been trying to help with this, and it would have to be effective helping if it wasn't not forceful helping. You know, when you kind of force your helpfulness onto other people but not really in the way they need. I do know when my daughter eats, she has meals that either she or I make and she eats those, so when they are gone I can see. The point being not to ask if she ate or not, because as the doctor said, it's a reminder and she doesn't need to be reminded of what she has, and emotional support will do. Asking her if she ate won't. The other day my girlfriend continued to go to my daughter and ask her if she ate, at what time and what she ate. This is bad, but the worst is asking how many calories it was. I pulled her aside and told her that she cannot ask those questions to her, and if she wants to help to please try to do it a different way, take her out, socialize. They both like movies, books, shopping, bowling, etc., etc. They have a lot of the same interests. She seemed like she understood. Until I overheard her asking the same question again. She went into my daughter's room and asked her, did you eat? My daughter said yeah, then proceeded to bombard her with questions about what she ate, the calories. At one point she asked to see the food bowl so she could see if it was good in there. I brought her out of the room and told her that she either needed to stop asking those questions or leave because those are in no way appropriate, kind, or helpful, and I shouldn't have to ask you multiple times when she knows it's not helping. She got mad saying that I was neglecting her needs because she should know if she ate. I said I know she ate, there's a reason she has meals in there. Even if she didn't, she has no right to ask her that. I explained how I knew before this so she was aware. She started getting upset saying I was kicking her out for helping. She didn't realize she wasn't, but then still said it was just helping my daughter, and it was clear she was not even close to even trying to understand that she was not helping. That's why I told her she needed to go. I've told this to some family but they said that she didn't know and I just needed to be patient. But how many times do I have to explain the same thing until she knows? Edit. Hey, to anyone saying, oh well, what if your daughter doesn't mind? Let her if she doesn't mind it, even if she didn't, which she does. I'm not going to enable my daughter to check calories. Do we understand that that is part of an eating disorder? In not sorry in doing so, never mind deliberately doing what the doctor said not to do. Am I the a-hole for telling my brother I'm not moving back in, and to decorate my old room however he wants? BG, my mom raised the 4 of us, 27F, me, 25M, 19F, 17M, as a single parent, and she was always the cool mom. baking cookies, playing video games, etc. She always said I was the responsible one, so I became in charge of checking homework, making sure everyone went to bed on time and eating their vegetables, basically playing bad cop to mom's good cop. She told me multiple times that her plan was for all 5 of us to live under the same roof for all time, and that I would be in charge of keeping the family together. I said fuck that and moved halfway across the country after college. We went in C for a few years, but I reached out a while back cause I do miss them. I'd call our current relationship strained but pleasant. We avoid heavy topics and talk once in a while. I heard from the youngest, Ryan, that he had moved into my old bedroom a while back. Cool, I quickly forgot about it. Ryan called me the other day asking if I could help him with college apps. I happily agreed, but when we went on the Zoom call, I saw he was in my room. Not the room I had used, my room exactly as I had left it years ago. Same posters, same bedspread, even the cardboard boxes filled with old clothes clearly labeled throw away. Frankly, I was freaked out. I asked Ryan why he hadn't redecorated, and he said Mom won't let him, that I'll eventually move back into that room and he'd go back to his old one. I was pissed. I managed to get through his college questions and had to lay down. That night, I texted Ryan asking if he had a PayPal or something, and that I would send him money to buy new stuff and to please get rid of my old stuff because I am not coming back, and that was his room now. The next day, I called Mom and told her what I told Ryan, and that it was messed up that she let him live in my room without changing it. She blew up at me, saying I was a selfish a-hole and that I can't have it both ways, either I'm not responsible for the kids, and I should butt out, or I am responsible and I need to own up to abandoning them. This has stuck in my craw ever since. I do think it's super weird, but if Ryan's been living like that without complaint, am I just getting involved unnecessarily? I quite plainly said that I don't want to be responsible for the family anymore, but here I am telling them how to live. My partner says that he kind of agrees with Mom, in that I should just drop my relationship with my family because I'll inevitably try to take responsibility for them, when all that will do is cause pain on both sides. He also said I'm a bit of an a-hole for telling Ryan all that without clearing it with Mom first, because that will just make things harder for him. I feel like I'm going nuts here. Am I the a-hole? Am I the a-hole for not letting my GF be removed from the lease? My GF and I lived together for 5 months and it's been going good. But her grandma recently had a fall and requires care and someone to live with her because she was on the ground for hours before GF's mom found her. Our apartment is one of the cheapest and yet I can't afford it alone. My GF wants me to remove her from the lease while she lives with her grandma. But I don't want to live with a roommate anymore and told her she should keep paying for the apartment that we sign a year for since living with her grandma is free. But she's angry that I won't remove her from the lease and find a roommate, calling me childish for not just finding someone else to live with in the meantime and letting her live with her grandma, which is an hour away. But how is it fair she goes to live with her grandma rent-free while I'm stuck with a stranger I don't know when she can continue to pay her half and just live with her grandma? I've told the landlord I'm not taking her off the lease and she's threatened to break up with me because of it.